All right, Chris, how's it going?
It's going good, man. I was just posing in the garage, putting my song and routine together, and got it complete. And I just choreographed it on paper with a little stick figure, and I'll kind of label the poses and transitions and stuff because transitions are part of the posing too.
Yeah,
So, um,
like the lady said in the dance instructor said in pumping iron. They're not just looking at you when you're hitting this pose and that pose. They're watching you in between also. They're
yeah,
watching you the whole time,
yeah,
and seem to forget that.
yeah, and I've been posing for quite a long time now, so I'm getting pretty. I'm good when I practice enough and I make it smooth. But if I don't practice, I'm not smooth. But as far as like knowing where to position myself, I've got that down very, very well.
I'm
As far
I-
as
I'm an old man. Is the music anything I'd be familiar with?
it's the band's called Starset, and the song is called Trials.
Okay, you got this old man totally lost.
Yeah, it's a new kind of newer school song. It's kind of like rock mixed with or like metal rock mixed with like kind of a hip hop electronic vibe. You
Okay.
know, um, it's got a cool beat to it, and it builds up in the song, and it's got a cool chorus to it, and again the build up's perfect, and it's slow enough. So um, my routine, I've got I think it's like 17 or 18 poses if you include the transitions.
What's
Uh,
excuse me? What's the time for the posing routine now? When
I
I was
believe.
when I was still competing, we still had 90 seconds. I know they reduced it uh since then.
Yeah, I've got it down to about a minute 20.
Well, how much are they going to allow you? Because
I
they
don't know.
we when I was competing, it was 90 seconds we had
Yeah.
uh for the music. Then I know it was reduced down to 60, which I thought 90 seconds was just like cutting it close, and 60 was. And I don't know if they reduced it more because of the size of the shows now with all these different divisions.
Yeah. Um, the thing is, like with my routine, it sounds like a lot of poses, but they're all so close knit as far as moving your body into another position, and so you get a lot of poses for a small amount of time. And again, I include the transitions as a bit of a pose.
You can find out what I remember with the information I used to get about every show that I signed up for. Excuse me. Yeah, one of the things they let us know was how much time was allotted for the posing routine. So now, while you're working on your posing routine, you know how much time they're gonna let you have for your music before they cut. And I mean, they'll cut you off. They say you have this much amount of time for your posing. You hit that number, they're gonna cut you off anyway, right away. So this
I think
way,
I remember reading online they said 90 seconds.
oh, it is 90 seconds now. Okay, because I do remember they did uh, reduce it. Maybe is this a 2 day show? Did they
Yeah,
have?
it,
Okay, so it's a little easier because they have more time to work with. Okay, so that's not bad. Even 90 seconds, I always said wasn't really the best, but it's a lot better than 60 seconds.
yeah. What I'll do is one of the other days when I'm practicing my routine, I'll record it, and then I'll put it out there so you can check it out and see what you think.
I saw you reacted to one of my posts. I think I made it this morning.
Which
The drag queen show
Yeah,
post.
yeah,
What do you? And you know what? That's not. I said the first time that I've heard that it was this at least two other times I saw it in the in news reports that I don't remember what states they were occurring where they were doing this. I mean, this you, a little kid in a drag queen show. I mean, how crazy can this get?
Yeah, no, I think it's the craziest thing in the world. It's been a hot topic the last week or so, this whole thing. And, I was watching this video about one of the Disney executive ladies. She's like, gay or whatever. And she was recorded saying she has this agenda to literally insert any and all gay scenes that she possibly could into the movies being written and see what she can get away with. That was,
Yeah,
that was
it's
literally
actually
her. That was literally her prerogative, and uh, you know, they should not be introducing any of this shit to kids at all.
it's
Uh,
it's one thing. It's one thing having it in the movies and a show. One thing having it because it's part of real life out there. But when they just it seems like they're just ramming it down your throat now. That's the issue. I don't have an issue with it being there. I have an
right,
issue with them
like
ramming it down your throat.
you can watch a show and know when it's like properly put in there in the
Yeah,
story and it's a good fit for a character, sure. But then there's times when you just see it's just put in there for no reason at all. And it's like, why did that have to be? Why did you have to do that? What
yeah.
was
I
the
just said
point of that?
it's it's part of what it's part of life. It's going on. It's out there, and so I like I said, there's no issue with it. I don't care what the fuck you are. Do whatever you want. You're an adult as long as you're not hurting anybody. But so there's no issue with it being out there in the movies and all these TV shows. But just like I said, don't shove it down my throat. And the stuff with kids, I mean, they went a number of years ago. I once again I can't remember what state it was, but they were having uh, for the kids a drag queen. What do they call it? When they read to the kids? Well, it was drag queen reading hour, whatever they want to call it. But it's a drag queen coming into the school reading stories
Yeah,
to the kids.
like why?
Okay, I guess like you said, once again, actually going on out there. It's part of everyday life. We see it out there, but we're talking about children over here. A child doesn't
The
know.
thing is with them is that they already are trying to find their identity, and it takes probably until they're 20 to really figure out who they are. And uh, while you're a kid, your imagination's so vast, you could wish so bad that you want to be like a dog or something like that, and
I want to be a fucking. I
you'll
want to be
you'll
a fucking
pretend
dog.
you'll pretend to be a dog and fucking that's what kids do. They pretend to be things
Yeah,
and they like to play around and experiment, but you need to ground them with realistic expectations and the way things that are normal expectations. I'm going to say normal because I think there should be a standard for what's the majority of people, what the majority of people are and what they do, and the majority of people are heterosexual. But
so
the social media will have you believe
yeah,
like 90% of everyone's gay.
no, no. And let me tell you something. I I know a lot of people, or races, nationalities, preferences, and let me tell you something. The gay people that I know, I'm friends with, I associate, I interact with, uh, at at times. If the subject comes up, they pretty much feel the same way. We're talking about children, and just let the child whichever way it goes. But you're, to me, it's a form of child abuse.
Yeah, I agree. It's our jobs as parents to guide them through the world and to set an example of what's kind of practical. And
I'm,
what is practical is procreation. It's between a man and a woman. You know, if you want to start a family, that's what you do.
I'm,
And
I'm gonna get to bodybuilding really quick, but you know
yeah,
that
yeah,
that show, uh,
enough of
I
this.
am I am Jazz. It
What's
was a
that?
series. You know that show. It was a series. I forget which channel it was on. I Am Jazz. That guy that transitioned to girls. I don't think he had. I don't think the surgery was performed, but went through the hormones and all. I Am Jazz. Jazz.
No idea.
Okay. Well, my girlfriend watches it sometimes, and you'll see in the opening, closing the show, you'll see pictures or videos. I don't remember which one it was of the parents with this little boy between the ages of 1 and 2, dressed up like a girl. So now, let's fast forward. There's a show with this really confused child. What would uh, make a parent want to dress a girl up unless it's freaking Halloween? Even still, I don't know what would make a parent want to dress a little girl up like a boy or a little boy up like a girl, and that became a regular practice at that age. It just doesn't. It's I don't know.
I'm a really empathetic person, and I can put myself in a lot of shoes and situations, but that is one I cannot. I don't understand why you would do that. And you know, people say, "Well, what's the problem with that?" You know, like what's the problem with dressing your boy in a pink thing or whatever, symbolizing it's girlish. You know, people have a problem with the ideology associated with the sex that you are. And they say you don't have to act that way, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to. You know, if you're, whatever happened to like the tomboys, like where there was a girl that's kind of, more rambunctious and more like hangs out with the guys, and but it's still a girl, she's still straight. Instead now it's like they're like, no, she's gay or she's trans and doesn't know it or whatever.
Most of the tomboys I knew growing up, I'm sure there must be a percentage that are gay, but the people I knew that grew up with were girls that we refer to as tomboys were straight.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
And
straight, and I
and
don't know.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like no one says that a someone born a female has to follow a certain path as a woman per se. You don't have to. You can follow your own path if you want, but
I,
don't go around telling people that you're a man trapped in a woman's body and that we should believe it.
I can tell you of guys that growing up might have seemed kind of feminine in certain ways, and then you'll see them 25 years later. Fuck, they're not what they what they seem to be when we were growing up. We change, our bodies change, and everything. Uh, maybe maybe it's that the person was just so timid that we took it as being feminine or whatever, but yeah, it's just it's total insanity what's going on with this. And like I said, if uh, man trapped in a woman's body, woman trapped in a man's body, when you think of it has nothing to do with being gay or straight. It has nothing to do with that. When you think you're something that you're not, uh, an anorexic, I'm sure an anorexic, they think of themselves as being fat, and they probably, when they look in the mirror, the way their mind is working, the way when they look in the mirror, they
Hmm.
see themselves. They actually sees a fat person, but
Yeah.
they're not. So okay, yeah. And so what do? Appease them and go along with it? No, when you see something like that, you're gonna try to help.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's really no different. It's no
yeah.
different.
People's perception of reality vary quite a bit, and like, you got these people saying that they can be whatever they want to be, or they can be gender fluid from day to day, and you got people who are like dissecting their body to look like a reptilian.
Oh,
People doing this, people doing that. And it's like,
are we supposed to accept that as being normal? I think a lot of these people who, when we come to the transgender issue, that are pro, I guess we can say pro transgender, when they see these people trying to turn themselves into a freaking lizard, they probably see them as being crazy. So, uh, is that like the kettle calling the pot black?
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and the thing with when you research a lot of people who have transitioned, like around the 6 to 7 year mark, that's when most of the suicides happen.
yeah.
Because none of the doctors, it's very experimental, and whatever they do to reverse their genitalia and all that crap, it's not natural. They have to do so many things to make it like shape into whatever the fuck it is, and then like there's infections, there's things growing where they shouldn't grow because you're shaping your flesh into something that's not supposed to be. And they don't tell people about that. They don't say what's going to happen down the road.
Well,
They don't say what's going to happen when you start taking hormones, and they
I
don't
think
know.
I think the suicide rate is actually, and people don't realize the in a line of police work, there's a high suicide rate, and that's up there with the police, maybe even a higher rate.
With policemen.
Well, yeah, I think this with the people that actually go through the the operations where they get the changes. Just like you mentioned, the suicide rate, it's up there, but maybe even surpasses. Police do have a higher suicide rate, and it probably surpasses the police.
Yeah, I don't remember what percentage it was, but it was
Yeah,
considerable. And
yeah, it's considerable. It
and
wasn't it wasn't typical if you compare it to the general population. It's atypical. Definitely not.
uh, and the thing is, like, with it is they'll go through their transition, and it takes years and years to get to whatever point you get to, but you'll never fully be there. You'll know in your mind that you're not actually what you're trying to be, and most times you're not going to convince everybody either. uh, and so I think those people are going to forever be in a transitional point in their life where they're never satisfied with themselves, and perhaps going halfway through a rabbit hole and deciding halfway through, where do I go? Do I go back, or do I keep going? And there's not a lot of help for those people. There's not a lot known about it. And so, especially if you allow like kids to make that decision, that is the biggest mistake in the world. And during your developmental stage, and you're doing either hormone treatment, or you go as far as the operations to change things. Again, a kid doesn't know what they want. They're not even at 16. They don't know what they want in life. They don't know who they are.
All these other important decisions regarding children while they're growing up, those are all. The child doesn't make those decisions. The adult makes those decisions. So why all of a sudden with this? Why should what's going on? It's crazy. Hey, listen,
Just
let's let's get into some body.
Yeah, enough of this shit.
You've been seeing what's going on now. We got another battle going on in the bodybuilding world. Bob Chicarello, and Fouad Abiad. You didn't hear about it?
No, were they feuding about something?
Yeah. Uh, Fouad does his podcast. He did a live podcast. I believe that it was at one of the shows that he just recently attended. Sure, he's one of the co-sponsors, and he mentioned Bob Chicarello during the podcast without mentioning him, referred to him as the athlete's rep, and in name only, and basically said doesn't do shit. So Bob made a video responding to it. Basically, called the fool out an idiot, doesn't know what the frick he's talking about. Some of the ideas that he just threw out during the podcast, he blasted them and told them if he presented them in front of the people, the IFBB, that he'd be laughed at and looked like a freaking idiot. Uh, and then Fouad responded to that. I think this is you'll check out online. You'll see it's going to go on. But what I wanted to get to was, from what I understand, yeah, Bob Chicarello, he was the athlete's rep. I was after Sean Ray was gone. But from what I understand, I don't think he's the athlete's rep anymore. Was a number of pro bodybuilders responded, and then the response was like, "Well, if this is an athlete's rep, why didn't anybody tell us about it?" Now, so I don't think he's actually the athlete's rep, but an athlete's rep is not a bad idea. But someone like my question is Bob Chicarello, and it's not a personal attack at anybody over here, but Bob Chicarello has a long-standing relationship with all these people. He has to negotiate as an athlete's rep. You need to negotiate with, get things for the athletes. Uh, I see it as being a conflict of interest. How can I be confident that someone's going to be fully looking out for my needs when the one he has to negotiate with, he has a long-standing personal relationship with? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, conflict of interest.
Okay, so if he's actually technically still the rep, or he's not, and he was the rep, is that a good idea to have someone with that type of relationship to the people you have to negotiate with as your rep? What do you think?
Well, I think in bodybuilding, it's real important to separate politics from the event outcome altogether. If there's people who have ties in any sort of way and they're in a position where a relationship could influence a decision made, I think people need to take that serious and I don't know, act with integrity when it comes to it. Because too many times in bodybuilding, there's someone who knows someone and they pull a string, or they, like just in Brazil not long ago, whoever it was, was 5-6 pounds overweight, whatever.
Oh,
I'm sure he knew someone, or the guy who knew him knew someone, but they wanted him to get in there, obviously. And then you got, the catastrophe of 1980 and 81. You got, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on
for
behind the
those people who
scenes.
don't know what Chris is talking about, 80 and 81, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's very controversial comeback win, and 81 was Franco Colombo when he returned to the stage again his very controversial Olympia win.
Yeah.
Okay, finish up.
Well, it's just too many times you get disappointed with stuff like that in bodybuilding. You can think back about a lot of things. So, I think it's important where people who are up there need to take a step aside when there's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it's at the very least it's conflict of interest, and I personally, like I said, this is not an attack at anybody, but I mean, let's be realistic about this. How can a person be confident that you're going to be fighting for their best interest when you have a long-standing, deep relationship with the people you're supposed to negotiate with for that person? It's you're not. There's no way, and I don't I don't know how many people can actually separate that and actually perform the way you're supposed to perform in that capacity as a rep. I think that relationship with these people should disqualify him. And he was I think should a representative be elected? I think Sean Ray was just wasn't elected either. He was just put in by the powers to be. And when Sean Ray was gone, Bob Chick was put in place by the powers to be. So your athlete's rep was put in place by the people who he's going to be negotiating for you.
Mhm. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of politics in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's
Who, sh- who should be the athlete's rep?
Jay Cutler. I
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
think Jay acts with integrity.
Yeah,
I put
yeah.
him. He's the face of bodybuilding for still. He's still a big part of it. He could, Bob Chick used to compete, and yeah, his face was familiar and whatever. But I think Jay Cutler would make a great athlete's rep.
Okay, before I said it, this is not a stab at Bob Chicarello, but this right now is a stab at him. Personally, I always thought he was a bit of an arrogant, you know what, but that's just my humble opinion.
Didn't
Uh,
him and Dave Palumbo have an issue?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Dave went out with a rant, and part of it was that when he was dating his wife before they got married, Bob Chicarillo tried to move in. First, he was
Yeah,
also
yeah,
she was a competitor. Uh, was it, I don't I think it was fitness she used to compete in. I don't remember, but she was competitor. So naturally, he was doing a program and everything, and he was trying to hit on her, and he was trying to tell her that Dave is dangerous for her. What he's gonna do, he doesn't know how to work with women. What he's gonna do is gonna hurt her. Blah blah this and that. So Dave went off and made a rant. So then Bob came on the show, I think a week later, and it started off. Now it didn't get crazy, but there was definitely shots fired back and forth. It was one of my favorite shows on RX Muscle. It was good. Yeah, they had beef. He's he is a bit of an arrogant A, but my issue with this is that someone like him, even like Bobby Chicarillo, Joe McIntyre, it doesn't matter. If you have this relationship with the people that you have to be supposed to be negotiating with, and it goes back a long, long time, a very close relationship. I'm not so sure if you're the right one. Dave throughout, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but it probably wouldn't last too long, and the IFBB still has him with a lifetime ban. Someone like Lee Priest.
Yeah, Lee Priest would make. Oh, he would get in trouble for sure. He would get.
Even
He
when he
would.
was competing, he didn't
He
give
would
a
say.
shit.
He would say something that'd get them all in trouble.
Yeah, even when he was competing, he didn't give a shit if it was going to hurt his placings. Hayes just came straight out and said it. Someone with that type of approach might be the best thing for them as a rep.
Yeah, they just have to not worry about offending people, which is so easily done these days.
Who do you? Well, Lee Priest has an IFBB lifetime ban. Uh, if you, I don't think so much with Jay as I do with Bob. But if you want the same issue I have with Bob, Jay pretty has a very close relationship. But you know what I think it might be not bad. He has a big mouth, ain't afraid to open it. Something like Guy Sistanino, one of Fouad's friends. I think someone like him, I don't think he'd have an issue opening his mouth and bringing things forward. He actually might. He might not be bad. Someone like him might not be a bad choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd go with Cutler. That's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's liked by everybody, and
I
I
think
don't
even
know.
though he has a relationship with most people, he would still act with integrity in a some kind of situation, you know.
Yeah, and with Sean Ray, we know a lot of the other athletes, a lot of the competitors didn't like him, never liked him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure. A lot of the competitors we had of recent years and now are big fans of Bob Chick either. So at least with Jay Cutler, as far as the other competitors go, I believe that for the most part they all have a lot of respect for him.
Or
Which,
Ronnie Coleman, if he could get on stage and talk, you know.
yeah, I mean,
Everyone,
but
everyone
yeah,
loves
like I
Ronnie.
said, with Jay Cutler, at least unlike Sean Ray and I think Bob Chick, I don't think the athletes didn't really have a lot of love for them. They weren't fans of either one of them. Jay Cutler, at least you can say, is well liked by the competitors.
I
So
think Lee Haney would be a good choice too.
yeah,
But yeah,
I think relationship wise, Lee Haney probably doesn't have as close a relationship with the powers that be as even Jay Cutler. Not to say he doesn't have a relationship with them, but I don't think it's on the same level. Although, yes, they do show him a lot of respect, and they always will, and he deserves it. Yeah, someone like him might be a good person for a rep.
speaking of politics and stuff, how do you think? So I guess Ramy said he's pretty serious about coming to win his title, right?
Yeah, you know what? But he said that before. Uh, he was serious when he's coming back for his, try for a second win. He wanted to show people, prove to people that he's he's the real deal. He makes very similar statements. I think everybody makes pretty much the same type of statement as whether they carry through with it. Uh, so I think I know what you're going to ask me. What are you going to ask me?
I mean, if he comes in looking spectacular, do you think he's going to have the same pull as he did last year, based on his no show and possibly retiring after this year. He's going to be his last.
You use the word spectacular. Is he coming in spectacular or is he coming in looking good?
I'm just saying, like,
you understand what I'm asking you? You said that you used the word spectacular. I think good, coming in good and coming in spectacular are two different levels. If it comes in really on point, spectacular, as you say, yeah, I think he pretty much will get it if he truly deserves it. But if it's close, and if we see what we saw last year, if it was, and it was close last year, even though
yeah,
I don't think they should have given it to him. It was close either way you look at it. If it was close in that regard this year, like it was last year, he's out.
I see Nick Walker edging him out.
Let me tell you something. He's young, but this kid has the drive, the mindset. I was going to mention to you anyway. You notice how very recently some videos have been coming up with him training with a number of different bodybuilders. Some of them are guys he's going on stage against. Hunter Labrada. You noticed that, right?
Yep.
He's very confident. You think he's playing fucking head games with them?
Nah.
I mean, as to work out with them, try to fuck with their head, to psych them out. Here, look what you have to face in a few months.
I mean, maybe because he knows he's better than them, so why would he be worried? But
Him not being worried, but him playing head games with them to fuck
nah,
head.
I don't think so because I train with all kinds of people all the time, and unless you're fucking be on stage with them, I never play head games with people. I never feel intimidated training next to anyone really. I mean, I would never throw salt in their game, that's for sure.
It just crossed my mind that maybe he's just trying to fuck with the head, psych them out a little bit, play mind games. It's been done before. Arnold was famous for playing mind games with people.
Yeah.
And well, if not one thing for sure though, he has. I don't see it as arrogance. He has a lot of confidence in himself, and he's yeah. If, I, I think he's the most likely candidate to step in. What you asked me the question about Ramy? What's your answer to your question about if he bring the package he brings, or how are they going to treat him?
I don't know. I think even if he brings the best package he can, I think Walker's going to come in even better than ever. And if he comes in at his all-time best, I think he's going to beat Ramy.
Well, you're not answering your question. It's like
No, I am. That's what I think is going to happen.
but
I don't think it matters how good Ramy looks. He's not going to win.
is Ramy so even if he comes in as you say spectacular, you don't think that he's going to get it?
No, I really don't. I see Nick winning it just hands down.
I don't know if he's capable of coming in spectacular anyway. I always
right.
I made a few videos. I don't think he's ever really had that
I threw him a bone there.
the mindset of a real champion. Lee Haney referred to himself and Ronnie Coleman. We're gladiators, and that's we have a gladiator mindset. And yeah, a champion's supposed to should have a gladiator mindset. I don't think he's ever had that mindset.
Doesn't seem like it.
I think there was always some self-doubt that
If I
prevent,
looked like that, I'd doubt myself too.
and I said the same thing about Kai Green. I think Kai Green's mind, there was always something going on in his mind that held him back.
Phil Heath.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, he's going up against Phil Heath, but I don't think. I think there was some I don't know, really confidence issues that he was dealing with.
I think everybody has it. They just learn how to hide it.
I think he was, but some a little might be a little bit more tolling on him than with others. And I think his best time on stage was when he was working with Oscar Arden. I think Oscar Arden was actually the best for him. Oscar Arden worked both ends. He worked the physical, well, nutritional end also, the physical, nutrition, and the psychological end. He was very into that, and I think uh, that's probably something that Rami needs that he doesn't have.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Chad Nichols is doing his diet when he comes here. Uh, Dennis James is working with him, but who's with him? Who's guiding him along? Who's talking to him over there? He needs someone like him. He needs someone like that because he really doesn't have the killer instinct. That's what it is. It's the killer instinct. He doesn't have that.
And
The
some
great
people
one,
have that don't.
the great, the great ones had it. All the great ones had it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to wrap it up too soon on you, but I do gotta get going here. Um, Today's another day where I was pressed for time a little bit again.
Before you go, how did your soccer game go today?
They won, babe. What was it? 7-0.
For what?
Their soccer game was it 7-0 again? Or
7-0.
yeah, it was actually 7-0. Like we didn't keep
Okay,
scoring past that point.
that was that was the that was what the score actually was. Did
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did they give the other team a few bonus points so they don't have the zero there?
No,
They didn't do that. Okay.
I'm watch. They'll probably start doing that now. Here's some sympathy
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I'm the way things are in this day and age. I'm really surprised that they're not that they didn't do that. It wouldn't surprise me at all. All right, everybody, listen. If you are watching this at Muscle Central, make sure you go over to Chris's channel, Buffy the Iron Slayer. Check out all his content. If you're watching this at Buffy the Iron Slayer, come over to Muscle Central. Check out all my content. Either way, make sure you subscribe. And Chris, you gonna some final thoughts on anything?
Yeah. All I can say is with today's topic is just the society and the world is just in an interesting, convoluted place. And I hope things get sorted out and get back to normal, the real normal we used to know, and people get back to reality.
Let kids let kids be let kids be kids. And
Yeah.
uh what do you think about we do need an athlete's rep that's not too closely tied with the powers that be. Would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen too many times in my own bodybuilding days where there's people who had ties to people who shouldn't be in the judge spot, the judge seat. Yet it still happens, and these people win, and no one says anything. So people need to fucking start acting with integrity and stop with the bullshit political gains and agendas. With just let the decisions be that be. Let it be what it is.
And Chris and I think Chris and I both seem to sense that this could be the end of the Rami era, and we might see
Only
the
hope.
the, they can make a movie out they can make a movie out of it with this title, The Rise of the Mutant.
Rise of the Centaur.
Well, he's been called the Mutant. That's been his moniker.
Pretty accurate.
The Rise of the Mutant. That would make a good movie title. How are you with acting, Nick? You a good actor?
I've done some stuff here and there. Like I got some friends who make movies, and I've auditioned before for a couple commercials. I auditioned for. Do you remember the Campbell Soup commercial where the kid or the snowman comes through the door and he sits in the wooden chair, and then the snowman melts into a little kid who.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my friend. That was my friend Jacob, and me and him auditioned for that role, and I think it was like a Burger King role or something like that. I didn't get picked for either one of them, but he was also in Patch Adams as well. And then
How did you find out about these commercial casting calls?
it just I just always I don't know. I always got told I was just like a vibrant, good-looking kid. I could make a good.
Where do you hear about these things? Where do you find out? Oh, we got a casting call for a commercial. Come on down. Where do you hear about these things?
Back then, I don't even know if I think the internet was just coming around. AOL.com, you saw the CDs everywhere. But I remember my dad and my mom found out, and they somehow got me into being able to audition for things, and they got notifications and whatever emails. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think you're too young for this. You know the cereal Honeycombs, right?
What now?
Honeycomb cereal.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right, there was commercial going back years and years ago. The group of kids, I can't really remember how the commercials were going and the themes on the commercial, but it was for Honeycombs. There was a set group of kids. One of the kids, a little chubby set kid, who always wore, most of the time wore like a floppy hat, glasses. Uh, his name was Michael something. I can't remember. For some reason, I can't remember his last name. He lived on my block.
Oh, okay.
He lived on the other side of my block, and he did something. He did something else. Oh, I also trained with a guy. This guy Eric LaSalle. He ended up being in a couple of things on TV. Ended up being in one of the medical series a number of years back. Tall black guy Eric LaSalle. If you Google his name, Eric with a IQUE, LaSalle. I remember when he was trying to become break into acting, he trained in my karate school. He wanted to spar with me, and he's a little taller than me, so it's a little. And I'm short. He's tall, and it can be a little awkward. It's hard to control where some of the shots are going sometimes when it's such a big disparity. But he was trying to get rough with me, so I got rough back. I ended up nicking him on the eye, put a little cut over his eyebrow. He freaked out because he's trying to I fucked up his face. He's trying to be an actor. Okay.
Hey, shouldn't have fucked with you.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I like the rough, but he really started getting rough. So I'm not gonna get hurt. I just so he just got back what he was trying to give. He didn't quite enjoy it. Okay, Chris, I'm not going to keep this going because I know you just said you need to be going.
Yeah, I'm
Whatever you have
sorry.
it's just some. Is it a pleasure thing you're doing?
We gotta go to Talia's mom's birthday. So
Okay. It's a party. It's a pleasure. All
yeah.
right. All right. How old's the birthday girl?
How old's your mom, babe?
Uh,
Like 58?
something?
58?
No.
Six?
55.
55.
I'm older than her.
She
I'm
thinks.
older than her. Hell, I said happy birthday.
I'll say happy birthday from Michael
Oh,
Diamond and Muscle Central.
okay. All right.
She's gonna be like, what?
All right. You had an interesting one today. You had an interesting one.
Yeah, no, it was. I wish we had more time to I could elaborate a little more on what we're talking about, but it was an interesting one for sure, and I like how we don't always have to talk about bodybuilding, and
Oh,
it's stuff that's kind of related in some sort of way, and sometimes it's not, but shit, it's just fun to talk about stuff that's kind of hot topics right now, anyways, in the world.
I'm sorry if some people think we might have gotten too political, but like I said, it's something that's going on out there. It's
It's
where
a big deal.
we got to talk. It's something to talk about.
Yeah.
Chris, we'll catch up and have a great time at the party.
Thank you,
Uh,
Mike.
we'll catch up in a day or two, and we'll figure out the next time we're gonna get together. Everybody out there, I really hope you enjoy this podcast. Please, put some comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think of what we're bringing you. All right, Chris, it's been fun. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.
All right, take care, Michael. Later, everybody.
Bye.